I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kamen Riders. We're here to talk about Kamen Rider Geats, episode 16. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. What's up, Toby?
Yo, Josh, let me tell you about a real first world problem in my life.
I love first world problems. Let's hear it.
So, to do the responsible economical thing for the Earth, I like to get things.
I wasn't expecting. Okay, go ahead.
I like to get things that are rechargeable,
Sure.
electric, all that good stuff. So, most of my personal items at this point are all wireless, battery powered, whatever. Like my headphones, my electric razor,
Yep.
my vibrator, my headphones, my razor, or like the electric shaver, or whatever, and my toothbrush. All these things are rechargeable, and they all come with their own USB ended charger. But today, when I went to do any sort of like adult thing, I realized that they all have their own unique plugs on the end.
Oh, God.
And now I don't know where half the chargers are because all these things are kind of brand new. And I was like, oh, it's USB on one end. Oh, it's the stupid USB-C or whatever was on the other. I was like, I don't need to keep these 27 things. I'll pack them away. They might be in the trash. But now my time, I'm in real hard times because my toothbrush cannot be powered back up.
Toby, I don't know how to tell you this. You can move your arm too. The toothbrush doesn't have to move by itself. You can move your arm.
It's 2023. I thought I moved past this. And it works for me. It beeps when you're supposed to change quadrants of your mouth to make sure you brush your whole mouth properly.
Okay.
And now I have no fucking clue anymore.
Look at you, you fancy boy.
And these are all real complaints. 100%. My toothbrush beeps when you're supposed to change the part of the mouth you're in. And now it's not going to because I can't find the goddamn charger.
So I've got one of those toothbrushes. It's called a Quip, I think.
Oh, you got suckered in from YouTube ads in like 2019 or podcast ads.
No, exactly. I've had it since then. So I like it because before that I would have a toothbrush and I would like forget to like buy a new toothbrush. So I would just have the same toothbrush forever and it would get all like splayed out and worn out and like it would just go terrible and I would just always forget to buy a new one. So this is like, it sends me a new toothbrush like on the reg. And all I have to do is like, then just like take it in the house from the mailbox and put it on my toothbrush. And I actually like keep up to date with like replacing my toothbrush, which is nice. But it seems like it's going to be like a fancy toothbrush, but it just vibrates. It doesn't spin. It's not like a spin toothbrush like you would think it would be. It just sort of buzzes.
Yeah.
Which isn't really like, it's not really a value add for brushing your teeth really for the most part. The only thing it's useful for is it's a timer. So it turns itself off after 2 minutes, which is supposed to be like when you're done brushing your teeth. But like the actual act of vibrating, like I don't really think helps clean my teeth at all.
I would assume it does because they all do it because that's kind of what mine does too, along with the code beeps.
Yeah.
So I would assume it does something.
I guess maybe it does, but it just feels like it's not doing anything. Cause like, like the like smart toothbrushes when I was younger, they would always spin, right? Like the actual head of the toothbrush would spin around like crazy.
Yeah.
And it just feels like I'm not properly cleaning if it's not spinning like crazy. But
does your dentist not give you a new toothbrush every 6 months? Because you mentioned never knowing when to replace them.
Yeah,
my dentist every visit gives me a new toothbrush, so that's how I always knew when to throw away the old one, whether it looked used or not.
That does help. Yeah, so the dentist does give me a toothbrush, or offers at least. You want a new toothbrush? And I go to the dentist now every 6 months. There was a long stretch of my life, like multiple years, where I just didn't go to the dentist because it happened when I was moving and then didn't get a new dentist and then forgot that dentists were a thing that you should go do. So, I probably went like 3 years without going to the dentist for a while. So it was that 3-year stretch of probably not replacing my toothbrush enough for sure. But
it broke your brain.
Yeah.
I also had a stretch where I didn't go. That's because I didn't have dental insurance.
That'll do it.
For whatever reason. So the first time I went back, I was like, this is going to be the worst trip I've ever had here. Like, I'm definitely just going to get murdered in the mouth. But like the lady did all that stuff, and she was like, "Oh no, you're good to go. Don't worry about it." She's like, "This was easy. You're good." I was like,
You've been doing a good job. Yeah. So mine was not that experience. My trip
"I
back,
lost all my teeth."
like it was fine. Like it wasn't a terrible cleaning experience, but they definitely. So I don't like my dentist, and I don't really want to keep going to my dentist. I want to find a new one, but sorry if you're listening, Josh's dentist. Uh,
You know who you
but
are, you fuck.
but they do this real hard sell where it's like, oh yeah, since it's been a long time since you've been, we really got to get back on top of like your oral health or whatever. So we're gonna have you come every 3 months instead of every 6 months, and then we'll evaluate every time, and eventually we can get you on the 6 month cycle. It's like, okay, so for the first time, I believed them. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. The 3 months happened. I went back, and again, like 3 months, no discussion. Like, didn't even say like, oh well, like we're making progress towards the right direction. It was just like cleaning over. We'll see you next time, and instantly booked for 3 months. I was like, oh, that's a little weird. Like, we didn't even say like if I'm moving in the right direction, right? So it just kept happening like that, where it's just like every time it's just 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. I was like, oh, so this is just a scam where they just get to see me twice as often now, and it never changes. So a couple times ago, I like they like walk you to the front and like book for 3 months, and I was just like, no, I'm doing 6. Just not you're gonna see me in 6 months, not in 3 months. That's not gonna happen. So I put my foot down. But they also do this thing, Toby, where they chit chat with you, which is, I know, a thing that humans do, but like my dentist does it so blatantly obvious that they have written down talking points that then they all read off my chart to ask me about, that it is incredibly off-putting. Like, so one time I went and like they ask you like, oh, like what have you been up to or whatever. So I made the mistake of saying like, oh, we've been doing some like projects around the house, like like, oh yeah, we installed a new blah 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 whatever. So like I was just kind of talking about like, yeah, we did a few things around the house. So then then another person comes in to like see me or something, and like very obviously is like, oh, so I hear you're doing some projects around the house. Like,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. And then the actual dentist comes in, who always comes in at the end, right? Who like checks the work.
The 20-second spot check for probably like $150 an hour.
Exactly. So he comes in, he sits down, he says hi, and like very clearly he says, so how is, and you hear a pause, he's like, your project's going around the house. And at this point, I wanted to kill everyone because it's like the 4th time that visit I had to say, well, they're going good.
You should have said something different every time and just see if the story changed, or if you just wrote down like.
I should have. I really should have. So like I got home that day and I was like, I just like don't give them any personal information because Jesse goes there too. I was like, don't say anything to them because then it'll be written in your file forever. Like it's just a permanent part of your life now that you just always have to comment on. It was just
yeah. The next time you go, they're gonna be like, "Oh, so we heard that you are doing this still. How's that going?" And you're gonna get home and be like, 4 walls, damn it, 4 walls. Keep it at the house.
Keep it at the house. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think if they have like crossed over the wife to husband dentist wall yet. I don't think they've like mentioned anything that she has said.
So it's like a good therapist. Like you both have your own private time and.
Also, like, yeah, it's always the worst too because it's like you're getting your teeth cleaned, and these people are like sometimes talking about things that like are, like, they're varied opinions of things, right? Like about like places to live or like things to do that like some people might have very strong opinions about, or like like heaven forbid like politics or something, and you have to suss out the person who's cleaning your teeth and like, are you a good person, or are you like are you my enemy and I should make sure I don't say my actual feelings?
Yeah, for those conversations I just keep it either like blank, like we'll do like the Dungeons and Dragons morality chart thing. Yeah. I just go like full blown neutral. I just sit there and go, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever you say, all right. Because like, especially with people like the dentist has tools that they stab you in the face with.
Yeah, that's
So it's
true.
like, I'm not going to tell you my opinions on things because if we differ, you're going to get extra angry and be like, whoops, I stabbed you in the jaw.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, my thing too is like the dentist lady I have now. Like my dentist comes in for 10 seconds at the end, looks at my tongue to make sure I don't have like mouth cancer, I guess is
Yep.
the vibe,
Yep.
which I never had dentists do that before until my new one. But the lady is super social and remembers stories I tell her from past times and always wants to talk about things. But they never talk to you when you're like rinsing your mouth out and spitting in the thing to like clean your mouth out. Like she's like both, like she's like mirror and like pick in my mouth.
And then
And
ask
she's
the
like,
question.
"Oh yeah, so I remember you saying for Thanksgiving you run around a lot. So how was your Thanksgiving?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's pretty good. We went here and then we did this." And it's like,
So sometimes in those cases, I will resort to a simple thumbs up. Like if a question gets asked, like while they're in my mouth, it was like, oh, and just like a thumbs up. Be like, yep, I heard you. I'm not answering right now.
but yeah, but it's never yes or no stuff where I can
No, it
like
never is.
wink
No.
or nod or like thumbs up, like you said. It's always things that like require an actual conversation.
and like they do this every day. Like you'd think they would learn to either ask yes or no questions or to not ask the questions when they're in your mouth. Like just pause for a second. Let me answer the question. Just you think you would make this mistake like multiple times a day, every day of your life, and eventually you'd figure out that it's a mistake. But
So Josh, guess what?
what?
I'm gonna pull back the dental curtain for you.
Oh no, I don't want to see the other patients. Please close it. Close it back.
One of my Discord friends, his dad is a dentist. So the one day I was joking around with him about the they always talk to you when the shit's in your mouth thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, my dad knows and he does it on purpose."
Okay, so it's a bit. Got it. I can buy into that.
It's long standing dental humor where they're like, "We're gonna put as many things as possible to step like in your face and then try to talk to you just
Great.
because we know that you can't talk back."
I feel better knowing that they're fucking with me about it, honestly.
It feels good,
Like,
right? Like when you
well,
when that's
because now I know they're not stupid, right? Because before I thought they were just stupid. If they're fucking with me, then they're smarter, and they're just fucking with me. That's better.
I can respect that hustle.
Yeah. You know, one of my Discord friends' dads works at Nintendo, so I get the inside scoop there.
I heard Luigi was in Super Mario.
Reeling it all the way back to your charging issues, Toby.
Here comes the highlight.
I've been working on converting my whole life into USB-C. That's really that's the wave of the future. Everything that I own running on USB-C, so I only have to carry around one cable for everything for my entire life.
So that means no Apple products?
No, my MacBook runs on USB-C. I'm literally talking to you over a MacBook connected via USB-C charging.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah, that the thing that gets me, my iPhone, is still the stupid ass lightning cable. I don't want to carry a special cable that's just for my iPhone. So my wife got a new phone this past Christmas, and she got like the newest iPhone or whatever, but still has the dumbass lightning cable. So I was telling her like, I'm not upgrading phones until they switch to USB-C. I refuse. It's just not happening. And then that glorious future where I only have to carry around like the one cable type. That's great. That eliminates so much room in my backpack. That's incredible.
I feel like that'll never happen. Like,
no, it won't. No.
if you won the DGP, I wish for a world with all the one charger.
That's what I would. That would legit be high on my list. I'm just like, wait, I would erase every other connection type except for USB-C.
If I got into like Geats territory of like, I'm too good at this, I just need to make up dumb bullshit now, I would definitely I would erase like every minor inconvenience from my life, like one game at a time.
Yeah, for sure. You both invent USB-C after you win one game, and then the next one is like make it the only standard. Just continue slowly adding to it. That'd be great. Oh man. We can hop into episode discussions. We have an email address, Toby. We haven't received any emails this week that we're going to read, but if you want to send an email for us to read for next week, you can send those to cast@commonridersucks.com. We'd love to hear from you. hoping to hear back from our good friend Charlie from Texas, who we talked about last episode.
Who he
had
shattered to his driver core.
I think Charlie is an uncommon talent, and I'd love to hear some more names that he comes up with. But let's dive into an episode. Oh wait, before we dive into an episode, Toby,
Jesus.
I have to tell you, I cut myself. I cut myself bad.
Go
so
on.
I was cooking dinner last night, and I was using a knife, and I've been using sharp knives more often lately while cooking, and like I've been cutting way more produce than I used to, so I've been getting more comfortable like handling a knife. And I think I got too comfortable and too cocky about it because I I cut my thumb last night on the knife, and so I don't want to oversell it, but I also don't want to undersell it. So when you look at your
do you still have a thumb?
I do still have a thumb.
Okay.
It happened, like it came down, and I felt that I cut myself, and like basically you do the thing where you just like grab the thumb real quick, and like you're afraid to look, like, oh god, I hope there's still a thumb there. So if you like kind of like look down at your thumb, it's like sort of like a half circle, kind of like on the edge. So I've a portion of the half circle now that's flat, basically. So I kind of like lopped off a little portion of my thumb. It didn't need stitches, according to my wife. But yeah, I gouged myself pretty good there on a knife. So I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, right? So I cut myself, and like I must have like yelled or something. She looks at me and she goes like, "You okay?" And I said, I'm not sure. I cut myself." So then she doesn't get up. Then I look at it. It's bleeding pretty good. And I realize like, oh, there's a chunk gone from my finger. I go over and show her. And she's like, "Yeah, you got yourself pretty good." I'm like, yeah. And then she doesn't get up again. Like I'm thinking like that's the point where like first aid's going to be administered.
That's the same situation we run here. It's a tight ship.
So there's a chance that I was maybe being a bit of a baby about it because she was clearly assessing the situation and deciding that it wasn't serious enough to get up and handle it. But it was touch and go, Toby. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
the one day, basically the same thing. And just for the record, almost 40 years old. Like I've handled knives a couple times in my life.
Yeah.
Should know what I'm doing. And still, every once in a while, I manage to stab myself right in the middle of my hand with a knife because I'm thinking I can stick the knife like through something to stab it, but stop in time before I get to my hand.
Oh no! Yeah.
So like, I mean, it was a couple weeks ago at this point, maybe a couple months, but I was trying to get a core out of an avocado, and I was like, I know I can just stab it with the knife; it'll get stuck, and I can just pull it out and it'll be fine. But instead, it went through it. I think that's what happened. It went through it, got myself in the hand, and then I was like, this hurts. There's a good amount of blood. I was like, really can't close my hand right now. It kind of hurts. I was like, then you go like through the whole list of like, did I catch a nerve? Will I be able to bend my hand again? I work in IT for a living. I can't not have a hand.
Yeah.
And go through all the bad things. And then eventually like, I just pulled pressure on it and I'm like, oh, it's like 1/8 of an inch tops, a tiny dash. I probably just scared the shit out of myself. I should stop being a baby.
Yeah. I'm there with you. So you gave yourself the old Jesus treatment, the stab right in the middle of the hand. Yeah,
I gave myself half Stigmata.
Half Stigmata is like my favorite punk band. I had a similar thing the other day. This is like maybe a few weeks ago, but I picked up a steak knife. So not like a big like chef's knife this time, thankfully. But I picked up a steak knife out of our like knife block, and I must have slipped out of my hands like as I was picking it up because it like started kind of spinning as it was coming towards me, and I like was dropping it at the same time. I basically ended up the point of it hit me in the chest. So I like stabbed myself just a little bit in the chest and then it fell to the ground and like almost got my foot. So I was like, that would have been a really fucking stupid way to hurt yourself. Just like literally throw a knife at your chest. But it was all okay. It didn't actually like poke in or anything, but it scared me.
Well, like every once in a while I get real clumsy and like I'll drop a knife. And obviously like I'm well past the point of like, I know they always say like the classic saying is a drop knife has no handle or like a drop blade has no handle, whatever.
Yeah.
which means like don't be a hero and try to grab
Grab it.
anything sharp after you drop it. You just let it fall. So like whenever I know it's coming and I realize like, oh shit, it fell off the counter out of my hand, whatever. I do the most dramatic like 5-foot jump back ever to get remotely away from the knife. And it's mainly because like I'm super hardcore, like barefoot, like 99% of the day.
Yep.
Like shoes are a curse to me.
Same.
So I always just my fear is like this knife's going down, it's going through a toe, I'm going to lose a toe. So I get as far away as possible all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That was sort of what I did on this after it like hit me in the chest was like, yeah, do like the like half jump back as it falls to the floor, like in front of you. Yeah, definitely. The only thing that stops me from doing that more is my reaction time is so terrible. There's no way. First of all, there's no way I'm even like attempting to catch a knife that's falling off a table before it hits the ground. I wouldn't be able to react in time, but I'm also not reacting fast enough to like jump away. It would clatter on the ground first, and then I would.
Oh shit! I should move.
Yeah, you should move.
No, like if you dropped it, you hear it hit the ground, and then you're like, "Oh shit, I should move."
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, kids, don't play with knives. Be careful with them. They're very serious.
Don't make food at home. Just go to the store.
It's not worth it. You'll lose half a thumb like I did. All right, now let's jump into the episode. We watched Kamen Rider Geats.
Kamen Rider.
Yeah, this podcast is about Kamen Rider. You all remember Kamen Rider. You clicked on the video 20 minutes ago, decided to watch it.
You're here with us.
Yeah, everyone's on board. Kamen Rider Geats episode 16 is what we watched. Just as a quick recap for everybody, last episode, Buffa, our man Buffa died. He dead.
There's no coming back.
He dead.
He didn't retire. He didn't retire. To be able
His
to come
ID
back in the future.
core, no, his ID core cracked. Dude dead. Ace regained his memories and his buckle after touching Buffa's ID core. Ace single-handedly beat the final boss of the game after playing some 4D chess with getting his buckle back. However, our game didn't end, and we're going into the playoffs. Dun, dun, dun.
And the important reason to know that why the game didn't end is just because the game master said, "Yeah, it's not done."
Yeah, we're not doing it that way. Yeah. Instead, we're going to the playoffs. We need some we need some Super Bowl music or something, or like Monday Night Football. How's that go? It's like
that one's a real song.
Dun dun dun. Is it?
Yeah.
Are you ready for some football? It's like, are you ready for some Kamen Rider?
We need Carrie Underwood to score the song all about Monday nights and how exciting they are. And
yeah, exactly. And the song would be called "Sumi Take the Wheel." You can't leave dead air if you also laugh. It doesn't work.
I can, because I was thinking about it. I was like, but I was telling you an actual thing. And then you took it out. You spun the wheel out of control and went down the back road.
Yeah, I wasn't even listening to what you were saying too. I was too focused on my joke I was going to make. So that sums us up pretty well. Yeah.
Josh, the chorus goes, "Waiting all day for Sunday night. All right, what a night is finally here. Sunday night football's kicking in the high gear. The stars have arrived. Come on, get up and cheer."
And this is actually by Carrie Underwood?
Yeah. Like there's a 30-second music video before football in which you see her perform the song every time.
And she's very excited about it being Sunday and it being football in equal measure.
She loves it.
Do you think Carrie Underwood, so I know football's popular. Do you think they book Carrie Underwood for this? Do you think she's actually a football fan, or you think she's just doing it for the paycheck?
I feel like if she's country, I feel like she's from one of the states that are like super football centric.
Yeah. So
I could see her really being into this. Also, I'm Googling this as we go because I need to have as many facts as possible. Carrie Underwood.
You are the expert.
Thank you. Carrie Underwood has been doing the Sunday Night Football theme since 2013, and she changes it every year and makes a new video for every year.
Wow. Okay. That's impressive. Listen, I don't keep up with country music. I know the name Carrie Underwood, so at some point she was very relevant. But maybe the Sunday Night Football theme song is the only thing keeping her relevant. Maybe she's doing it to cling on to her last bits of celebrity, because now it's gonna be the thing she's like remembered for. So she's like, "Oh, I'll come back and do another theme song." And they're like, "Carrie, you don't have to. It's fine. Like we'll use the one from last year." She's like, "No, no, no. I want to. Yeah, I wanna be back in the studio. It's okay. I can do it. Yeah, no, it's no problem. Don't worry about it. It's no problem. I'll even do it for free. Please don't ask anyone else. I'll do it."
And now to crush you, she's put out a new CD pretty much every year.
Okay, so she's still doing all right.
Yeah, but she's from Oklahoma, and she went to Northeastern State, so she's from Oklahoma. Like she probably has like, like Oklahoma footballs.
Yeah, they're
That's the
big into
thing.
football, right? Yeah. See, it's weird. I don't, I grew up very country, in the country, in a country household, but it wasn't a sports household either. So like while I know that like country and sports overlap pretty heavily, it didn't for me. Like that wasn't my experience. So it always is a little confusing to me when it is. Like, oh yeah, I guess a lot of people from the country are also very into football. Yeah,
I guess
that
this
makes
is. I
sense.
guess this is a thing.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
guess these
so
people like this football thing.
if you're like me, if you go on YouTube and look up Carrie Underwood NFL song, there is a 15-minute video of the evolution of the Sunday Night Football song.
It's just
So
all
everyone,
the versions that she's done.
yeah. So everyone, pause this podcast, go watch the Carrie Underwood video, and then come back and listen to the rest of everything we're going to talk about.
Or don't watch Carrie Underwood. Yeah, I don't want her. I don't want her stealing our clicks.
We need an overlap of Carrie Underwood fans / Kamen Rider fans. We got to get the Venn diagram circles a little bit closer together.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Anyway, back to Kamen Rider. We find out, Toby, that the playoffs, as it were, are going to be a fox hunt.
Which is so goddamn on the nose in the title of the game and the obvious thing that it means.
It's perfect. Yes, it is perfect. I mean, yeah, like Kamen Rider Geats is just literally like Kamen Rider Fox, and we're gonna hunt some foxes, or a fox in particular. The fox is Geats. The GM doesn't even really have to explain the game to them. Everyone kind of just knows, like, oh, okay, you want us to hunt Geats. Okay.
You want us to go kill the Geats, okay?
Yeah. He's dude is dead set on killing Geats at this point. Like he's invented this special game. Like he even, I think, says here like Geats is gonna die. Like he doesn't just want him out of the game. He doesn't just want him to lose. He wants him to die now. So his vendetta is boiled over.
And then as part of that, he starts pulling everyone aside and he's like, "Remember your wish. Remember your want for a world with peace." He's like, "You can get that. Here's a buckle. Just go kill Geats."
Yeah, I don't even think we need to like, break down the scene by scene of how that stuff happens, but that's like the through line of the episode is like him going to them and like talking them into it, basically. Like, you need to go do it. You need to kill Geats. He works on Keiwa like especially hard.
Because he's the most gullible and soft.
Yeah. Although, like, leading into it, like I could see a world where Neon decides to fight Geats because, like, she's empowered and she decides that she wants to find her true love, and like I could see that being a thing, or like, Geats tells her to do it or something, right? Keiwa seemed like the much harder sell for me though. Like he didn't seem like someone who would ever decide that he could take Geats out. But I will say, after the game master's like speech to him, like he was kind of winning me over even. Like I was being like, well, okay, I guess that makes sense, because he was really working hard on like, hey, wow, your wish is noble. Like you
have the best wish.
Yeah, your wish is gonna make the world better. And Ace has this horrible, frivolous wish. You're gonna really let him just completely misuse the power that you would get from having your wish granted. And he does this great walk away too, where he's like, well, if you change your mind, you can get your buckle here. I'm on your side.
You know where I'll be.
I love the I'm on your side.
Obviously.
So incredibly on the nose. So it seems like Keiwa, like, um, is maybe starting to be swayed by that conversation. Is kind of what we're seeing. Meanwhile, Neon goes to talk to Ace. So she kind of goes and confronts Ace about this game that's happening. She tells him she doesn't want to fight, and he kind of is talking to her about it. Like he's like, "Oh, so the game's a fox hunt, okay?" And she's like, "I don't know." And he's like, "What do you want to do?" And she doesn't want to fight him. While they're talking, Punk Jack shows up. If you remember, Punk Jack was possessed previously.
Hacked. He was hacked.
He was hacked. Yes. He was hacked by Kamen Rider Glare, who was the game master. Punk Jack is still acting like he's possessed, very clearly. Like he's kind of like making weird grunting noises and stuff. But he's got his pumpkin helmet back on, so like something weird is going on there. At this point in
I
the
assume
episode,
they were just lazy.
Oh yeah, that
and it
could
wasn't.
work too.
Yeah, like because Pump Jack has his little speech from when him and Geats bonded right before he got hacked, and so I assumed it was just like everyone recollecting like their conversations.
Yeah.
So you're probably right. Maybe he wasn't hacked anymore. Maybe he was actually just trying to like get the win still. But I assumed they just didn't put that weird helmet back on him, and it was just still like weird Pump Jack.
Well, we find out later he definitely was still hacked. So we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, the helmets were still kicking around because in this fox hunt they had hounds, which were like faceless Kamen Riders that were also controlled by Kamen Rider Glare. Because they all had that like hacked helmet on, and they would go find Geats and like start fighting him, and then a real rider would show up. Like they would back away like when Neon walked up, or they would back away when like Keiwa showed up. So that was weird in and of itself that we had these sort of like insert faceless Kamen Riders that served as the hounds in the fox hunt. But we'll find out more about it here in a second. But we see a giant explosion, so it appears as if Geats has like shot Punk Jack, destroyed him in some kind of giant explosion. So keep that in mind. The episode moves on. It starts to rain. It's just cinematic as fuck at this point for the rest of the episode, really. We see the game master, and he sees that Punk Jack has been eliminated, and he says, "Punk Jack, useless to the end," which is a line that hits a little hard when you think Punk Jack just died, but then when you find out later what really happened, like hits even harder. And poor Sumi is crying. Toby, she's crying.
That part shook me because the game master was like, "We need a new savior to make this world better." And after all the BS that she's put up with for 16 episodes, he actually got to her so bad because she's like, they're not supposed to be fighting each other. And his response of basically like, "I don't care. This is better," actually made her cry.
Yeah. And it's clear that like she cares about these people now too. Like she, it's her job to sort of be impartial. But I think we started to see her care about them more when they did the Resident Evil game, kind of. But then now it's clear, like she doesn't want them fighting. She doesn't want this, forced upon them by the game master, and brings her to tears. And then we find out like she really cares because she goes out in the rain and finds Ace and is bandaging him, administering some first aid. She's brought him food. Like she's pulling the full-on sister card to help Ace out, even though she's not supposed to.
She gave him a snack. And he even makes a fun joke. He's like, "Thanks, sis." And she was like, "When will you ever stop acting like this is a thing?"
Yeah, please stop. That scene where she's fixing him up and she brings him like clearly like gas station food was awesome. Like I loved that. I loved getting to see more of her as a character. Because we gotten a little hints of it up until now, but this was full on like, no, she's just 100% going against the game master and helping Ace out, kind of behind the scenes.
She's very wise.
We get a little bit more insight into Ace here. So Sumi asks him like about his wishes. Like, why are you making the wishes that you're making?
Well, real quick before you do the important stuff, the whole scene, it was like raining and it was like in a spooky outside like a random house looking thing. And I was kind of waiting for the scene that we always see in the opening where they pull the guns on each other. And I was
Oh,
actually kind of waiting for that to happen during this part, but it didn't.
that would have been, yeah, that'd have been cool. If that part actually gets incorporated into the show, it's gonna like hurt even worse now that these two are like brother and sister. But yeah, she asks him about his wishes. He says he kind of is doing them to find out more about himself, and he wants to find out about his mom, obviously. And he asks her if she knows anything about Mitsume, who would have been her predecessor. She very clearly does. She says she can't like talk about it. But before that, she says like, "No, it can't be." So
So,
she
okay.
recognized the name. Yeah.
So it's funny with that because when she starts like vaguely hinting, like when he says like I just want to know how things are working, and like she starts getting upset, and it looks like she might open up to him about like this is why these things happen, this is what this life is. He flips a switch real fast, and he's like, "But if you know things, you need to tell me now." And like if he would have just like pumped the brakes just a little bit, and maybe did that conversation a little calmer, it might have
Yeah.
been okay. But he went too aggressive too fast and just like scared her into like, okay, I'm not saying shit.
Which is interesting because usually, he's like 10 steps ahead. And like, think back to his conversations with Punk Jack, where like they were pretty cold and calculated. And like, he got Punk Jack to say exactly what he needed him to say, and he sort of baited it out of him. So, like, here, the fact that it didn't go how he wanted it to go, like, shows he was being very human, I think, in this conversation. Like, it wasn't really about agendas up till that point or anything. Like Sumi brought the human out of him. and I guess yeah, also shows like he kind of wasn't 10 steps ahead at this point. Like he's in this fox hunt. He doesn't have any other plans. Like this is what it is. This is his only aid that he's receiving. Yeah, I think that made it all very real. We get a little scene here where Kawa basically freaks his sister out by talking about his dead parents way too much. Um, this is part of Kawa's, I guess, process for deciding whether he's gonna beat Geats up or not.
Yeah, like
He's
he's
like,
trying to reflect on like, is this a good choice? And I was thinking about it. So like they both know their parents died. They have
yeah,
accepted a life of like our parents died. He knows how they died. I'm not sure if she does because she probably wouldn't remember all that shit. But like if you both like if you even like you Josh, if you knew one of your relatives died and then all of a sudden they came back from the dead, that seems like it's really off-putting in a weird way where I don't know why you would root for that anyway.
I think,
Like
yeah, I
I
guess,
never really thought about it until like that conversation. But I was like, if they accepted their life of like, we don't have parents, and all of a sudden like mom and dad just walk through the door and they're like, hey kids, we're all here now. Like I would assume it was some weird, horrible mistake, and like I don't know.
yeah, you would assume someone's playing like the worst prank on you that's ever happened or something. I would imagine. So I hadn't really even considered that, like Kawa's wish about bringing people back from the dead would have also included his parents. Like I was only thinking about the Kamen Riders for some reason. Like I wasn't thinking about the like civilian casualties like his parents would have been. But then yeah, when he started talking about them, it's like, yeah, I guess there'd have to be some level of like memory regaining on Sarah's part too, so she would know that like how her parents died, so she could explain in her own brain how they're back now or something. Because yeah, like otherwise it's just like ghosts walking in your front door. Everyone would freak out.
Yeah, it's weird.
Also, like we're not even accounting for like he's bringing these people back to life. Like in some cases, people have been dead for a long time, like his parents, right? Like have been dead for a while. Um, like are they gonna have places to live? They're not gonna have jobs. Like what? Like
They might be useless to society now. You never know.
yeah, it's like the Marvel snap, like the whole like where they were gone for 5 years or whatever it is, and when Thanos snapped and then brought him back. It's like they gloss over that in the movie, but it's like this big huge thing of just like, wait a minute, so half the world population just erases and then it comes back and like
How about back to normal?
yeah, it's just like, and then in 2 movies, it's like, it's that was a thing that happened in the past. Well, anyway, no, that would shake up the world culture for the rest of eternity. Like, yeah, just crazy. But Gawa just he's thinking bringing the dead parents back is gonna be a good move, I guess, for him and his sister. Neon goes and asks her dad about the DGP. So we find out that she wants to ask her dad a favor. She says as a sponsor of the DGP, but we don't really know the nature of the favor at this point. But he kind of sits down at his desk and he was like, "Oh, okay,
It's time.
you figured it out. It's time. We have this discussion."
Well, she said that she wants to talk to the CEO of the thing. It wasn't she wants to talk to somebody. She wants to talk to
someone higher than the game master, right? Like that's what she says later.
Yeah, like that's the vibe at least.
Yeah. We'll find out what that is about in a second, but we cut back to Kawa, who has basically shown up to fight Ace. So Kawa seemingly has made his decision. He's standing on a rooftop. He's there to fight Ace. And this is, again, one of the awesome fight scenes we've been getting in the last several episodes. Both Kawa and Ace use the command twin buckles. So we get like fighter jet versus fighter jet.
Yes, it's very like double Gundam Rumble.
It totally is. Yeah. I love that they use the matching buckles. Really, really fun, like awesome choreography. They battle for a while. Kawa kind of starts to like lose some footing, starts to lose a little bit. The game master, Kamen Rider Glare, shows up. He henshins. He's getting ready to kill Ace. It's very clear. But right as he's about to,
he refuses to let Geats win again. He
Yep.
specifically says, "I refuse to let this happen again." And then henshins.
Yep. And then henshins is about to attack. And then Kawa shoots past Ace, like kind of around Geats, and hits Kamen Rider Glare. So like Kawa knew it was coming and then intercepted, basically.
And
shock.
And this is when it all gets fucking crazy.
Yes.
This is the turning point of the show. 16 episodes in, 5 minutes left in this episode. This is where it all gets fucking crazy.
Yeah, things start to unfold here. So I guess, yeah, just bring it down. The fancy guy that we had seen in the past few episodes, the guy who originally gave the command twin buckle to Ace, he kind of walks into the scene. And he's like, he walks in, he's clapping or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, now I've witnessed the game master's corruption firsthand." So this whole thing was a setup. Turns out the fancy guy is the game producer, the DGP producer. And Neon got her dad to basically have the producer step in because of the game master's, completely overstepping his bounds. So his corruption, as he put it. And then Neon explains further, like why she went to talk to her dad, because the explosion with Punkjack had been turned into a human bomb that the game master was using to try to kill Ace. So he like wired him up as a bomb and sent him to try to get close to Ace and then explode him to kill Ace. Which
is clever, but a little insane.
A little creating a suicide bomber is, quote, a little insane.
It was a pumpkin-headed one. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all fun and games. Like that was crazy when it happened in the show, and then when I like took a beat back and thought about it, I was like, oh, it was literally a suicide bomber. Like that like blew my mind even more. Like, wow, this is a kid's show.
The kid's show for adults.
Yeah. So yeah, that was sort of Neon's kind of turning point of like getting her dad involved, and there was a scene earlier in the lounge where Neon is talking to Kawa about like, have you made your decision? What are we doing? And she says, I've decided I'm gonna fight my own way. And now we know like that's what that means. Her own way meant she's gonna go to her dad. She's gonna have the producer be involved. That's like how she's gonna fight in the game. And then Kawa gets a little speech moment. So Kawa turns out really upset about the game master calling Ace's wish trivial. Basically says, hey, all of us are Kamen Riders. We're all here risking our lives, and all of our wishes matter. So that's a very, very Kawa response, I feel like.
Yes, he's going with DGP world peace.
Yes, exactly. So of course, Glare, the game master, not happy about any of this, and he fights the three heroes. So Ace and Kawa and Neon fight him in this insane battle. Glare has these like drones like that come off of his body that are just like flying around. There's just all these like insane shots of explosions where Glare has his like arms outstretched like he's like fucking Magneto or some shit. Just crazy. Like it's very clear in this fight how powerful he is, I feel like. Because again, it's 3-on-1 and
he's doing just fine.
He's doing just fine, and his fighting is so like posy and like, yeah, it's crazy like watching it. But it looks really, really cool. They fight for what feels like a long time, but then finally the producer like steps in. He like steps in between Glare and the riders. And at this point he snaps his fingers and the game master just starts to fade away as if he was, eliminated. He was the Kamen Rider. He dehensions and starts to fade away.
So
as he does this,
right before it happens though, which
yeah.
I thought was fitting, Geats got to Kamen Rider drop kick him before this happened.
Yep.
So I was like, this is a fitting moment. Like he got to do the cool kick thing as like the finisher, even though it wasn't like directly a finisher.
Well, yeah, it essentially was, because the game master is no more here. As he's fading away, he says, "The Geometry are getting stronger. You need me." And the producer says, basically, "Yeah, we've got plenty of people to replace you." The game master kind of pops out of existence, and the producer kind of picks up the belt. He picks up the Glare belt and touched it in a way that made me think he's for sure becoming the next Kamen Rider Glare. Like that, or something. Like that dude is 100% becoming a Kamen Rider.
He's like the weird suave creepy. Like Neon's dad is like horror movie creepy. Producer guy is like suave creepy.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah. He's a little too over the top, and like, he's a little too like used car salesman ish. But he seems super nice, but yeah, there's clearly something going on there. He kind of like looks back at the Kamen Riders and he's like, "Hey, thank you all so much. I'm heading out." And he just sort of pieces out.
And he also just fades away. He almost looks like he was like a hologram and just kind of like warps out.
So now we're left with, of course, our heroes. And this is a really fun moment. So Geats was like, "Oh, I can't believe you fooled even me." Like he didn't know that it was kind of a setup. And Keiwa's like, "Yeah, foxes aren't the only ones who can fool people. Tanuki are pretty good at it too." And then the Neon pops in and says, "And cats."
And Geats has like the biggest like actual happy smirk on his face ever, where he's like, "I love these two idiots."
Yeah, it was very much like, "Oh, these adorable idiots," or like maybe a like, "Oh, the student has become the master." Type of expression. Unfortunately, however, with the producer sort of leaving in a hurry, the game seems to be kind of null and void. The game is over, but there was no winner. So the three of them are left standing, so they get an invitation to play the game again.
Because they want to do it the right way.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, without the interference of the game master. And then in the last sort of like kind of, I guess the second to last plot twist. There's a couple ending plot twist scenes here. The first of them is that we see the greenhouse once again. The greenhouse guy says like, "Oh, we got a fertilizer delivery." It's Buffa's body, who's just laid out, ready to be used as fertilizer.
And he says, so basically like it confirms that he's taking like actual dead riders,
yep,
and turning them into Giamoto. But it's just funny because he's like, before they show it was Buffa, even though you kind of assumed it was Buffa, he was like, "Oh, you kind of smell funny though." He's like, "It must have been from using the zombie buckle so much." And it's like, "Oh, you clever guy."
He specifically says too, he's still breathing. It's probably because of the zombie buckle. Like so they leave the possibility that Buffa's alive.
That's nice of him.
Yeah. the guy like also like licks his hand to like test the fertilizer, air
like,
quotes.
Smells, tastes.
Yeah. That dude's creepy. Of all the creepy people in the show, the greenhouse guy is the creepiest for me. The dude's he's over the top. It's too much. So yeah, 100% confirmed that like the dead riders are who are going in, and like they're literally using them as fertilizer. Wild. Then finally we get our big last revelation. And like you said, this kind of like really changes the game, pun intended, going forward. Sumi explains to them essentially that the Desire Grand Prix is reality TV. She calls it a reality rider show.
Yes.
Hundreds of cameras appear like floating in the air that are like clearly the viewers of the show. They're all around them. They've been watching them the whole time. And we get a scene of like Neon's dad watching the show with the sponsor who we saw earlier. We see like a guy we haven't even met before, basically sitting on a couch watching the show. So it's like the audience and stuff are watching. So yeah, they've been being watched this whole time. We kind of speculated that was the case, that like it was for entertainment, and it was people are watching, and that's the goal of the show. But like 100% confirmed here.
And it all kind of makes more sense, but makes less sense at the same time. But it was like a pretty sick twist to like end the game on, at least this game on.
Yeah.
And especially to like, I think this episode came out right before like their next like actual couple week break. So this was like a hell of like a half season ender kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it really is going to change the whole nature of whatever they do next, right? Like if they pick up into the next game, which they will, because they got the like invite to the next game, like they're gonna have like a new game master, and they're gonna all know that it's a TV show going in. So that definitely changes things in terms of like saving the world. Are we still saving the world? Or is it all a setup? Or, what's going on? Do I behave differently if I know cameras are watching? Like,
do I still wish for world peace when I know it's more of a game, really? And
yeah, lots of questions there. Also, like, I have a lot of questions personally about like the nature of the audience. Like, obviously, there are sponsors who are people that are paying money to sponsor the show. But then like the end credits like rule thing that pops up talks about sponsors and audience. So it's not just the sponsors that are watching. Like our audience members too. So who gets in the audience? Like are they just like regular people who could tune into the show? Like, because the average person doesn't know that Kamen Rider exists, right? So
I would assume that.
yeah. So who are these people? Are they from some other dimension or something? It's just like there's a lot of questions in terms of like, okay, who is the reality rider show for?
I always just assume it's for like evil rich people.
Yeah, that's usually how these things boil down. Evil rich people who somehow got clued in, and now get to watch people potentially die for their entertainment.
So
fun.
I was rewatching the closing thing because, but from what you were saying, what I thought I saw, Neon's dad says, so you have like, it's basically like, so you have quite the thing here, and he says the worlds you create transcend through dimensions. So it sounds like
he does, yeah.
So it sounds like there's either different dimensions watching this show, or they're going to a different dimension to play the game, or a mix of both.
And it seems like they're maybe like they're watching the show from these like couches that are in these weird, like the backgrounds are all crazy and trippy. So like maybe they're watching the show even from like outside the dimensions or something.
Yeah,
like,
there's lots of options, lots of places for this to go.
Yeah. But interesting. It'll be interesting if they like try to tell us that like every Kamen Rider show is a reality rider show or something, and people are watching it, and those are all just different dimensions. Like that would be a cool angle. But
so they could do that, or like this is an easy way to tie in any other
anyone
rider
that they want. Yeah,
like I know like Geats and Revis or Revice or whatever are like the two that are kind of intertwined right now. But this is like an easy way to do anything with that. Just be like, oh hey, we're in the other dimension. Look who's here.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting too to see like, so is the world that they are trying to save, like he said, creating worlds is kind of how he was like wording it. So like, is it all a fabrication? Like, are they saving a world that like didn't exist prior to the DGP even? Like that would be really interesting in my head of like, no, it's just all a simulation. Like it's just the Matrix. So we just put you in here to save it to watch on the TV show. Like you're not even real. I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot of questions.
And with the show's usually good enough where I feel like most of the main questions will be answered in an episode or two, just like because they like to keep it moving and not drag it out.
Yeah,
like granted, like the games being stupid reality TV, that was a longer arc that they didn't really pay off until the end. But like most of the other ones, always happen pretty quick.
yeah.
So it should be pretty doable.
And they had given enough hints about the reality TV that like you could pretty much surmise that with them talking about sponsors and stuff as early on, right? So they built towards it pretty consistently before the big reveal happened. But yeah, hopefully we continue to find out more. The show's been really good about that, as you were saying, of like setting something up, paying it off, setting something up, paying it off. So yeah, I'm pumped. I'm really excited to see what they do about Game Master. Like if we just have like another person step in, and if we ever see Girori ever again, like does Kamen Rider Glare rear his ugly head once again, or is this just the end of that arc and he's just done? It'll be interesting to find out.
What if the girl, or I'll assume it was a girl, when Geats was like, "Do you remember so and so?" to Sumi, and she got upset. What if she looks just like Sumi, and it's like her like doppelganger twin from a different dimension or something?
Oh, maybe.
And that's the one that pulls the gun on Geats in the rain in the OP thing that probably will never come up.
So that would be cool. That'd be really cool. Just a different Janet, like in The Good Place. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're excited for the next episode for sure. But that's going to do it for us for this particular episode. If you want to check out all of our past episodes, you can do that. Just search for the Comment Riders on your favorite podcasting app, or check out the video version on YouTube. You can either go to KamenRiderSucks.com to go to the YouTube playlist, or go to CommentWriters.com to check out the website. Of course, please send us emails, cast@KamenRiderSucks.com. We'd love to hear from you. And you can also check out what we're up to when we are not talking about Kamen Rider. Toby, where can the people find you at?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes, Tobes, and on YouTube, it's at Tobes Plays, where I play lots of stupid games for no reason.
And you can find me on Twitter and Tumblr. I am at PrettyDeeceJosh on both of those. That's PrettyDecejosh. So once again, we'll be back next week for episode 17. Cannot wait. Super stoked. But until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with